Today we're taking a normal lake photo to the next level. We'll start by creating a new layer. I'll go something like 3000 by maybe 2400. I'll even lower the resolution. You don't have to do that. I'm just doing it so the file goes faster because I'm recording. I'll actually make this one a little bit smaller like that. Make sure you have delete crop pixels when you're cropping just to make sure the file goes faster. Okay, I'll start by pulling I'll work from back to front. I always like to work like that. From the furthest point to the front. Okay, let's start with the background. The background, I'll press Ctrl M. I don't want it to be completely white. I'll make it a little bit gray. I want it to be the same color almost as the sky. Then I'll jump to the blue channel. And I'm just gonna add some blue. I don't know if it's adding or not, but it looks fine and good enough. Okay. Now this layer, I'm gonna rasterize it. I'm gonna Control T, make it something like that. Then I'm gonna hold Alt and Shift, and then I'm gonna drag this one. Now we have a duplicate. Then Control T, right click, flip horizontal. We have another one, but this one I'm just gonna make it bigger and maybe like change it around so it doesn't look like it's the same image exactly. Okay, then now I'm gonna jump to the foreground layer we're gonna use, which is this one. I'm gonna make sure it's big enough for my canvas. And then I want this area to be in the middle actually. This is important. Like we have here some trees and we have here some trees. I want the middle part here to be in the middle of my canvas. So I'm gonna just Control T and pull this one to the right. So this part is in the middle and maybe pull this one up a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna also rasterize this one. Then I'm gonna add a layer mask. Then on the layer mask, using a black brush with 100% opacity, I'm gonna use this soft one. And I'm just gonna get rid of the sky. We can actually do it in a different way using the quick selection method. You can just select the sky like that and Alt backspace on the layer mask to paint black. And then I'm just gonna fade out this mountain a little bit. Something like that. Okay, now let's open the two layers we have. Okay, let's take this one first. Add a layer mask. On the layer mask with the brush, just erase the edge. Something like that. And on this one also remove the edge so it looks natural. Now I'm finding like we have some sort of a problem. You see these edges, how I'm gonna fix it? I'm gonna stand on the layer, then go to select, color range. I'm gonna sample this color, and with the fuzziness, you don't wanna go too strong. I'm just something like that. So it made some selection, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna use the brush actually, and just get rid of them like that. Okay, now it's good. The final thing I want to do is on this layer, I'm going to take the clone stamp. The clone stamp work by pressing Alt click. Now I'm sampling from here. I want to get rid of this cloud reflection because we changed the sky. Okay. Let me now take these two, the two in the background. I'm going to press Ctrl J. Now we have two duplicates of them. Then Ctrl E. We have them merged on one layer. Then I'm going to flip it vertical, put it on top of this one, Alt back and click to make it clip on it. Now this is like the mountain reflection. This mountain is here. So now the reflection is good. Just change it to hard light, lower the opacity, and using the eraser, I want it only to be on the water, and using the eraser, soft one, I'm just gonna erase it from everywhere except the parts on the water. Okay, good. But now it's too blue, so I'm gonna press Control U and just desaturate it. Okay, now we're good. Uh, let's play around with these ones. Let's start with this one. I'm gonna go to hue saturation. I'm just gonna desaturate it a little bit, something like that. This one I'll link it again. It was unlinked because I unlinked it by mistake. That's too desaturated, yeah, something like that. Then on top of these two, I'm also gonna add layer of hue and saturation and just desaturate it a little bit. And on top of everything, I'm just gonna go to curves and just darken everything a little bit. Okay, and on this one, I believe the background is too blue and this is too green. So I'm just gonna go to a color balance layer, and on the shadows, I'm just gonna add some blue, some cyan as well. So now it match the color. So the colors now, this is like yellowish or orangish, and this is like yellow green. So now it's more blue and cyan. Now the environment is, I guess, done. It's time to add like another layers. Okay, let's start with the man. Okay, I made a mistake here. I added him in between the links. This is not good. It's better to stand. Let me group everything. Let's call this background. It's important to work in an organized way. So now we have our like model. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make a selection like that. Then first rasterize it. Then Control Shift I. Control Shift I to inverse the selection. Then delete to delete the parts outside. Then using the quick selection tool, let's see what the it's not working nicely. Let's go to the magic wand tool. I'm holding Shift to add to my selection. I'm trying to select the water here while holding Shift. Some parts I'm just gonna take the lasso tool, and make sure you always hold Shift to add and not to lose like the original selection you have. Okay, so now we have this selection. Okay, this part was selected by mistake, so I'm gonna hold Alt to deselect whatever is wrong, and I'm just gonna deselect his arm. Also this part. Oh, okay, if I made a mistake, I just pressed undo because I pressed an extra click by mistake. And I guess we're good now. Oh, there is this part still missing. So using the magic wand, I'm gonna add the missing parts here and there. Okay, I guess we're good. But one thing, I'm just gonna erase his reflection as well. And now I'm gonna add layer mask. It gave me the opposite of what I wanted. So immediately press Ctrl I. So it gave you what you want. Using now a black brush, I'm just gonna get rid of these lines around here and there. And some of the water here. Okay, I guess now we're good. Oh, there's a line, another line here. So I'm just gonna using a brush. Okay, so now we have our model. We're missing one. Oh, I see another line here. Let's delete it. Okay, we're missing the reflection of the man. So I'm just gonna make this selection. And on the layer, I'm just gonna press right click, layer via copy. So now I have a copy of this one, but the problem is I need to get the mask with it. So I'm just gonna hold Alt and drag the mask to it. So now I have it, then apply layer mask. Now I have the man only. Control T to free transform, right click, flip vertical, and put him where you want. Change the blending mode to soft light. No, that's too soft. Hard light. Lower the opacity a little bit. Okay, we're good. Let me take these two layers and Control E to merge them. Now we have everything on one layer. One thing I want to do, I believe the reflection is too strong. So I'm just gonna make a selection like that on the reflection part. And I'm gonna press right click, layer via cut. Now we have the reflection on a layer and the boat on a layer. Now I'm gonna change this one to hard light and just lower the opacity a little bit. and make it image adjustments, brightness, contrast, make it a little bit darker because the reflection is usually darker than the real image. Okay, and then on the layer of the man himself, I'm gonna go to hue saturation. I want to get rid of the yellow and the green. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lower the saturation of everything like that and darken it a little bit. Make sure it's linked to the layer below, but then it's affecting the man. So I'm just gonna take a black brush, make sure it's hard, and just paint over the man. I only want the boat to be affected. Okay, good. Let me drag this layer on top of this one also, on top of the reflection, and merge it. Okay, one more layer I'm gonna add. I wanna darken a little bit the boat, so I'm just on the curves, I'm gonna link it, make it a little bit darker. That's too dark. Something like that is good. And also I'm gonna hold Alt and copy the layer mask so it doesn't affect the man, only affecting the boat. And let's group all these together and call it boat. Grouping by Control G. Okay, so now we have our boat layer and our background layer. Okay, let's add our the temple. Okay, let me close the boat first. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Okay, and then using the rectangular marquee, I'm just gonna take this one. This is what I'm gonna use. Right click, select inverse delete. It cannot delete because it's not rasterized. You gotta press right click, rasterize, then delete. Okay, it got deleted. Using the magic wand, I'm just gonna get rid of the sky. And now using the lasso tool, I'm just gonna fix it a little bit. I need to cut in a way which doesn't look photoshopped, so it looks natural. So I'm just gonna follow any of the rocks I can see here and just cut along so it looks natural. Okay, and delete. Okay, so now we have our temple. It's too tall, I guess. Like that is good. But we have this problem, of course. The top of it is completely burned out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to curves adjustment layer, link it below, darken the highlights and a little bit of darkening to the shadows, and then I'm gonna take the blacks, pull them up a little bit. I don't want it to be completely black. Then I'm gonna add a color balance layer. This is too yellow, so I need to add the blue and cyan, and then in the shadows also I'm gonna add some cyan and some blue, maybe less cyan, and in the highlights some cyan. So now this is like the before and this is the after. Very big difference, but I believe it's too bluish, so I'm gonna jump back to the color balance, reduce the blue a little bit here, and in the shadows reduce the blue a little bit also. Okay, now we have this one. I'm gonna group it, Control G. So we have this temple. Let's make it a little bit smaller, something like that. Then I'm gonna hold Alt and just drag it, Control T, right click, flip horizontal. So now we have the other side of it. Let me do one thing, by pressing Control R, you get the ruler. Just drag it to the middle of the canvas. It automatically snaps in the middle. So you can know exactly where your middle is. So I can move them so that it's exactly in the center. Gonna move this one like that, move this one like this. So it's exactly like in the center. Okay, good. Let's bring back the boat. Make sure the boat is on top of them. I guess they need to be a little bit bigger and further away. One thing, I'm gonna jump to the background layer. I'm gonna take these mountains. I'm gonna Control T, warp, and I'm just gonna pull them down a little bit. I wanna see more sky and less of these mountains. Having more sky is important because the sky is bright and these are dark, so it will make them look appear better. Okay, let's close the background. These two, I'm gonna actually merge them together, right click, merge layers. Now they are on one layer. Then I'm gonna delete from here. I believe they are too like wide. Delete from here. Okay, that's better. Add, it's time to make their reflection. I'm just gonna hold Alt, copy them, Control T, right click, flip vertical. Now we have their like reflection on the water. Change it to hard light and reduce the opacity. And then go to image, adjustments, brightness, contrast, and just reduce the brightness a little bit, make them darker. One thing here, I'm gonna take the smudge tool. This is a custom brush I created. It's just by taking any normal brush and just pull it like that. So now we have it very small, maybe hardness 30%. What I'm gonna do here, make sure the strength is like maybe 15, and the sample all layers and finger painting are not active. And now you see what happens when I pull like that. It's a little bit slow, but it creates some sort of like waves. I'm just gonna make a variation. It's gonna take a little bit of time to draw it, but it's okay. It's like some sort of creating some sort of waves. It's a different way to do it. A little bit to the like front and back. Just creating some variation. Okay, it's gonna take a little bit of time to do all the actions I gave it. Okay, we're good now. The same I'm gonna do to the reflection of the man. Maybe just very subtle one like that. Yeah, when it's smaller, it's better actually. You see now it looks like it's having some waves. Okay, now it's time to put our lanterns. Let's drag this image. Make sure it's on top of everything. And this one, let's group it. Let's call it temple. And then on this lantern image, I'm just gonna select the lanterns I want. Something like that. Then I'm gonna press Ctrl J. Now I have it on a separate layer. I'm gonna select this one also. Then on the lantern layer, Ctrl J. And just delete the lantern layer. We have now two lanterns. The first one, I'm gonna do a duplicate of it. I'm gonna use it twice. I'm gonna put it maybe here, somewhere here. Okay, I'm gonna use it again here, but not now. And then this one, I'm gonna use it here. I wanna create some sort of a star look. So here and there maybe. Okay, good. Now I have another image of lanterns. It's a little bit slow. Okay, Control J, and then get rid of the main layer. Take this one here, a little bit smaller, because this one is like far away, and the opposite of it here. Okay, now it's time to create their reflection. Let's take this one first. I'm just like creating a duplicate, then putting it in a vertical way below this one, and just changing the blend mode to hard light, making it like low opacity and darkening it. This is what I do like with reflections. The same I'm gonna do to this one. This one is gonna be a little bit tricky because when I do that and when I flip it vertical, I face this problem, this one. So I'm gonna press Ctrl T, hold Ctrl Alt and Shift and move it like that. And then make another copy by Ctrl J, then Ctrl T, hold Ctrl Alt and Shift and make it like that. So now we have like two reflection images. Then using the eraser, I'm gonna erase this part, and then I'm gonna merge them together, this one and that one, by Control E. This part is wrong. Just erase it. Change to hard light, lower opacity. But also I'm gonna Control T, right click warp, just to adjust this area. It's not right. Okay, so now we have our first reflection. It's not really perfect. This part is not right. So I'm just gonna erase this part, and on this one I'm just gonna do it separately, this area, something like that, and only leave the left part of it. It's on hard light, and what opacity? 22. So I'm just gonna give it 22 opacity. So now we're good. Let's delete this. So now we have our reflection. These are the layers. Okay, good. Let's now just copy this one here and flip it horizontal. So I'm just like doing only one of them and then copying it to the other side. I'm trying to do 5 like a star shape, one in the middle, one here, one there, then 2 at the back. But I'm gonna move these a little bit down. Yeah, so it looks, and these I'm gonna move it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. Okay, let's do the reflection for this one now. Just like the one before of it. Make sure you put the reflection layers below the main layer, like the layer 4. This one should be on top of them. Then I'm gonna erase this part, and from this one I'm just gonna erase that part, and these two I'm gonna merge them, change them to hard light, lower their opacity, and we're good. Now let's take these two, copy them here, flip them horizontal. Okay, now we're done with the light part. This one I don't want it. Okay, so now we're done with the lanterns. We're gonna do like a small edit to them, but not now. Okay, let's take this one. I'm just gonna use the lasso tool to get rid of the edges I don't want. Okay, so now we have only like the face of it. Now how I'm gonna draw a rope. I wanna draw this one like it's hanging from a rope, so I'm just gonna draw something like that. Then I'm gonna sample a color from here, just a dark brown maybe. And Alt backspace. Now I have the color. Now I'm gonna take the dodge and burn. I'm gonna burn the top part of it and the bottom part of it, and hold Alt to dodge the middle part of it. Now it looks circular. Then also using the burn tool, I'm just gonna add some lines to it like that, making it look more interesting. Then I'm gonna go to edit, puppet warp, add a point at the beginning and at the last part, and in the middle I'm just gonna pull it down so it looks like this is having some sort of a weight. I'm gonna put it behind of it. Okay, so now it looks like it's hanging from a rope, but on this one I'm gonna press Ctrl M. It's far away a little bit in the background. I'm just gonna pull the blacks up a little bit like that. This one and that one, I'm gonna make them a little bit bigger because they are close to the camera. Okay, let's group all these together and call them lanterns. Okay, now let's add a layer. Let's call it light. I'm gonna sample this orange light. Okay, this one. Using my brush, I'm gonna make sure it's on the linear dodge add, or no, let's put this one to linear dodge add. And I'm just gonna, make sure it's soft. And of course, low opacity. And just even lower opacity. And just make sure you add some light around the lanterns. Okay, good now. And let's on top of the temple add a layer, link it below, and just color some orange because the temple should have some orange color, and change it to overlay. Or maybe let's try screen. No, screen is too bright, overlay is good. Okay, now it's time to like take an overall look and see what we could change to make it better. Let's get rid of this center now. I guess we're good now. Let's go to the color grading. I'm gonna go to gradient map. Then I'm gonna take any of these ones, but instead of having like the violet and the orange, I'm gonna change the violet to blue, and the orange I'm gonna change it to cyan. Okay, and I'm gonna change this one to soft light, and of course make it very low opacity, something like 10. This is what it did. Okay, and on top of lanterns I'm gonna add a curves. This curve is gonna affect everything below. I'm gonna darken everything out like that and pull the whites a little, the blacks, sorry. I always like pull the shadows down and then take the blacks, pull them up a little bit. And the highlights, no, I'm just gonna leave them the way they are. Okay, now I'm gonna add a curves adjustment layer on top of everything. I'm gonna go to the red channel. I'm gonna add some cyan to the shadows by pulling this one to the right. And in the blue, I'm just gonna add some blue also to the shadows, and then maybe some yellow to the highlights. Okay, then I'm gonna go to photo filter. I'm just gonna take a cyan color. This is like a filter on top of everything. It adds some sort of a cyan to the whole image. And then I want to create some sort of light in the middle. So I'm just gonna take a curves, make it bright, something like that. Then press Ctrl I on the mask. Now it's invisible. Now I'm gonna take my white brush. And whenever I press click, I'm gonna brighten. So I'm just gonna brighten the middle parts. Okay, now I wanna darken the opposite. So this way is very easy. Just press Ctrl J, Ctrl I. So we created a duplicate and then we inverted the mask. But instead of brightening, I'm gonna darken. You see, this is affecting like the areas far away. So I'm just gonna darken a little bit. Instead of brightening, I'm just gonna darken with this one. Okay, good. Now I'm gonna merge everything together by pressing Ctrl Alt Shift then E. This will merge everything into a new separate layer. Now I'll go to camera raw filter so I can edit the whole thing in one go. I'm gonna add some clarity. It makes everything clearer. Then I'm gonna make it a little bit brighter, increase the contrast. I like to pull the whites up and the highlights down, pull the blacks down and the shadows up. And then in the FX module, I just dehaze everything a little bit, add some vignette. I believe it's too contrasty now. I'm just gonna lower the contrast, lower the effects I made a little bit. I believe too strong, and press okay. No, first I wanna play around with the color. I like to do this one, move this one to the left. It makes the blue more cyan, and move this one to the right. It makes the red, the oranges more red. And just lower the opacity, the saturation of it a little bit. So this is like before the camera raw and after the camera raw. I like it more this way. And I guess we're done. That's it for today's tutorial. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure you put them in the comments below. Also, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.